I highly suggest you all check this movie out. If you have HBO Max, please check this out. Like I said, yeah. Um, so yeah, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So the first spoiler I should say with this movie is that Aquaman Aquaman in this movie, he is not funny Aquaman like he was in the original cut and in the Aquaman movie. What I loved about Aquaman in this movies is like he was a funny Aquaman. He was like a woohoo Aquaman. Yeehaw! Yeah, I really love that a lot about Aquaman in those movies. But in this movie, we get a more serious Aquaman. Actually, like we just get a serious Aquaman, and yeah, I didn't really think that was very like I wasn't really a fan of that actually. Like I wasn't really a fan of Aquaman in this movie actually. Like I wasn't really a huge fan of that. Yeah, and I would definitely say Aquaman was definitely the one I was least interested in this movie. Actually, like I would definitely say that that's the one change that I feel like the Whedon cut got better. Yeah, yeah, that's literally the only thing that I think that got better. Yeah, but he was still cool in this movie. Like he was still cool in this movie. Like I like the scenes. Oh yeah, I really like that scene where like he's drinking the vodka and then he goes into the ocean, but from like the waves and the um from like those waves that take you in the ocean. It was in the original cut too, but in the original cut, with that scene they use like a rock song for like a fun like scene. But with this scene now, they give you like a calm song, like a calm country slow song, and I thought that was cool. Like I like that song better, a little better actually, and I thought that was cool too. How they changed the song and made it more of a calm scene. Yeah, and I thought that fit it in cool. And I really like in that scene where he goes to Volko. Like Volko's in this movie too, like a little bit. And I like that scene with Volko where they're talking about Atlantis and they're talking to him about like and like Volko's like take your mother's trident and then he takes it and then like they're talking about like his mother how like she left him and all of that and yeah like this the same stuff from the Aquaman movie. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Oh yeah, and another thing about Aquaman is like he's not in it like very much. Like I would definitely say he had the least amount of screen time out of all the Justice League actually. But from all the scenes he was in, he was cool. Oh yeah, and I really like the scenes where he's in action too, and I really like how they kept the scene from the original cut where he's flying in the in the end battle, and then like he's taking out the parademons with his trident, and then he stabs one, and then he falls with the parademon onto the building and then destroys the building, and yeah, and I really love how they kept that scene, but like they made it look a bit cooler with like the blue background, and they made that place look bigger, and they even added railings on it, gate railings in the front of it too. Yeah, which I thought that scene was cooler. Yeah. Um, is there anything else about Aquaman I should say? So yeah, I really like the whole thing with his trident and him defending Atlantis, like him defending Atlantis from Steppenwolf, like it was in the original cut. Let me think. But I just don't like how he's just like I'm just not a huge fan on how serious he is. He's actually a bit boring at times. Actually, like he's very boring at times. Actually, like at times like he's just like you don't really care for him much. I mean, you care for him at times, but at times you're just like bored of him. Actually, like at times you're just a little bored of him. Yeah, and I'm just not a huge fan of that. Like I said. Is there anything else about him I should say? I think that's it about Aquaman. Yeah, he was cool, but I just really missed the funny Aquaman a lot. Okay, now let's get on to the. Oh yeah, one more thing about Aquaman before I go on to another character. I really like in the end when he stabs Steppenwolf with his trident and like he has him facing up. And yeah, that scene was fucking awesome. I love that scene so much. Okay, that's it about Aquaman now. Now let's talk about the Flash. I love the Flash so much in this scene. I mean, in this movie, like he's still like same funny Flash, and I really like how they changed him from the original cut. Because in the original cut, like he was just like really scared of Steppenwolf. He was like, I'm really scared. I'm scared of like aliens and tall obnoxious people. Like I've never even been in battle. I just push a bunch of people and then run away. That's what he was in the original cut. But with this cut, they changed that, and they have him like be a lot more eager to fight in battle. Like they don't have him like be scared. Like they have him eager to fight in battle, but he doesn't really know what to do though. Like he doesn't know what he should do to save the people. Like he's trying really hard to save the people and to save and to like help out. And that's what I really loved about Flash this time around. And that was even more cooler now. And that makes me even care about Flash even more now. And he was my second favorite superhero in this movie. Anything. Is there anything else about Flash I should say? Oh yeah, and I love his introduction so much. Where he's in the city and then he goes to this is it a bakery or is it a dog place? Because like there's dogs in that scene too. I don't know. Is it a bakery or a dog place? I'll just say it's a bakery. Like where he's just in a bakery and he's just gonna like get some like bread there or something, and then he runs into this girl, which her name is Iris, and like he's really like all eyeballing her, and he really likes her, and like she's even looking back at him too, like they're making eye contact, like they're making like they're making progress sort of, yeah, and so that they're just like attracting one another, yeah, and then from there like she just drives in her car, and then like a car accident happens because like this dude is like trying to eat his burger, and then like he crashes into a car, and then that so happens to be Iris, and then like Flash, what he does is like he uses his super speed, and like when he uses his super speed, you see his feet like his feet go out of his shoes when he does the super speed, and like he breaks through the glass like if it's water, and then he breaks through it, and then he saves Iris, and like when he's saving Iris, he's just glaring at her, and like just like eyeballing her, you know, just like you know when you have a crush on someone, yeah, he's just looking at her, and there's like this song that plays too, and it kind of reminds me of Time in a Bottle in X-Men Days of Future Past, yeah, but except like it's a lot more calmer this time around, and yeah, and that scene I just thought it was really satisfying actually, where he was just looking at the girl and he was just like admiring her, and then he even the car accident even like oh yeah, and what happened with the car accident was that I think it ran over like a hot dog stand and then the car, and so there was a bunch of hot dogs flying around, and then like Flash takes one and puts it in his pocket, and then he just takes Iris, and then like he puts her down, and then he rescues her, and then the car just goes flying, and then it just crashes and explodes. Yeah, that scene was fucking awesome. I love that scene so much, and then like they're making eye contact again, and then he just runs away and back to the bakery, and then he's like with the dogs, and he's like he's like why does bad stuff happen so much, like it's like it always happens on Mondays or something like that. And also yeah, I really like that scene a lot. And then he's like, well, you always have to give the dogs a snack because there's dogs in that bakery too. And then he gives it the sausage. He gives it the sausage. Yeah, and that scene was awesome. Like I love that scene so much. Is there anything else I should say about Flash? Let me think. What else is there about Flash I should say? Oh yeah, and I really love how he was admiring Wonder Woman a lot in this movie too. Like he had a bit of a crush on Wonder Woman too, and I really love when he was like when he was trying to when they were trying to take Superman's grave out of like they were trying to take Superman's grave out of underground, and then he's talking about Cyborg. He's talking to Cyborg and Aquaman like, do you think I have a chance with Wonder Woman? And then they're like, no, she's way older than you. She's 5,000 years old, and you're way younger than her. And then he's like, oh okay. And then like yeah, that scene was funny. I forgot what else they say in that scene, but that scene was really funny, and yeah. So yeah, that was just really funny how he was admiring Wonder Woman a lot. Is there anything else I should say about him? So yeah, and I really like his relationship a lot with all the other Justice League members too, and I really like how he was the most eager to resurrect Superman because Superman was his idol or something like that. Yeah, I really love that a lot about him, and I really love how he loves being with the team, and he loves helping them out and all of that, and he loves being there. Yeah, I really love that a lot about him. Like he's very eager to be there, and yeah, and that's just really cool about him. So yeah, Flash, he was awesome. Was there anything else I should say about him? I think I already talked a lot about Cyborg too. Let me think. Is there anything? But is there anything else about Cyborg? I should say. Oh yeah, and I really like how Cyborg. He was the one that knew most about the mother boxes too, and about like the apocalypse, and yeah, and I really like how he kept the mother box in his closet. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's all I should talk about with the main protagonist. Now let's get on to the main villain to this movie, Darkseid. Which Darkseid, he was really cool in this movie actually. Like I really like Darkseid in this movie actually, but the thing with him, that's another nitpick flaw I have with it too, is that he doesn't really have much screen time in this movie actually. Like he doesn't have as much screen time as I would want him to have actually. Like he kind of has a bit of like a kind of less screen time actually, but for all the scenes he's in, like all the scenes he's in, it's really awesome actually. Like I love that scene where Wonder Woman is telling Batman about Darkseid, about the invasion. Like he tried to invade Earth once, but he failed, and I love that scene so much where all the Themyscirans, the Atlanteans, the Lanterns, the gods, like they were all trying to they were all trying to defeat Darkseid from the from like invading Earth. Like they all brought them all together, and it was like very long ago where like the King of Atlantis was fighting him, Green Lantern was like the older Green Lantern was fighting him, fucking Zeus and Ares was fighting him. That scene was so fucking badass. I loved it so much. Like where we first see Darkseid's close up, he jumps out of the ship, and then like he lands on the floor, and then we get and then we zoom up to him, and then we see his face, and then he takes his scepter. Oh shit, my hand and arm is making farting noises. I hate when it does that. Okay, so he takes his scepter, and then he drops it down to the ground, and then that's what makes like his whole like apocalypse shape in the ground. And yeah, that scene was awesome. And then they're all fighting him, and then there's this one person that like arrows him, and then he chokes him, but then Green Lantern comes, and then he just kicks Green Lantern, and then he chops his hand off. Like he chops his hand off, and a bunch of blood comes out, and then he tries to take his ring, but then they stop him. Yeah, that scene was awesome. I love that scene so much. And then Ares, this is where we see Ares where he was good, like when he was good. Like Ares, he takes his axe, and then he literally injures the shit out of Darkseid. Like he stabs Darkseid, and then that's what makes them retreat, and that's what makes like Darkseid leave because of how injured he is. And that scene was really bloody actually, because like when they put the axe on him, like so much blood came out, and then when they took it out, a lot even more blood came out. And yeah, that scene was a lot gorier than I expected actually. So yeah, that scene was just fucking badass. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for that scene. Is there anything else I should say? Let me think. Is there anything else I should say about that scene? So yeah, that scene was just awesome. Yeah. So yeah, all the other scenes where Darkseid shows up too, like where he's talking to Steppenwolf about the boxes and all of that, and where he's sitting in his chair and all of that, and then in the end where it shows like the full like look of Apocalypse. That scene was awesome, and yeah, I just loved it so much. But with Darkseid, okay, I'm gonna compare him to Thanos for a bit. What I loved about Thanos in Marvel is that he had a motivation, and you cared for his plan a lot, and like you cared for his like he actually had, like you saw him as a human, like you saw him as like a person, like you cared for him as a person. I mean, not as a person, but like for his plan and his motivation and all of that. But with Thanos, he's just like this, oh, I'm a big bad guy, I destroy worlds, I love to destroy worlds. That's literally what Darkseid is, but it's just the first movie of Justice League. But for what the first movie needs to be, I think it was right for Darkseid. Yeah. But especially since we already had a villain with motivation already, we don't want to have a second one because then it'll just be kind of messy. So yeah, for what Darkseid needed to be, I would say it was cool. So yeah, that's all I have to talk about Darkseid. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Okay, now there's another sequence in this movie too, like another like plot thing too, with involving Cyborg's dad, Silas Stone, where he's trying to like overheat the mother box that Cyborg had in his closet or something like that. But with that whole plot sequence, with that whole like side of the story, this is another nitpick flaw I have with it. I don't really care for that whole plot actually, of him overheating the mother box. Like I just find that a bit of waste of the movie actually. Like I just find that a bit of a waste actually. Like I wish you can just easily scrape that whole part of the thing out with like him overheating the mother box because I mean I get the purpose for that scene, but like the whole plot sequence of that of him with like the other doctor too, like this Chinese doctor. I forgot his name, but it was this Chinese doctor. He's supposed to be Adam from the DC comics. I forgot his real name, but the whole thing with him, like I didn't really like that whole part of the story actually. Like, you could have just easily scraped that whole part of the story out. But thankfully it's not in it much. Like thankfully it's not in it much. Like it's not in it like as much as like in Stranger Things season 2 with like the whole sister thing and the Canto Bight sequence of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Thank God it's not as bad as that, and it's not in it as much as those scenes. Yeah, it's not really in it much. So yeah, and that's what I'm grateful for actually. So I could look past that since it's not in it much. Let me think. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? What else should I say? Oh yeah, and also Alfred in this movie too. I really liked Alfred in this movie too. How he would help out the team a lot, and he would help out Batman with the Nightcrawler, and I really like that scene with the tea too, where Wonder Woman is cooking tea, and then he's telling Wonder Woman how to cook tea and all of that, and then he's like, well, me, I've never really been a fan of tea actually. Yeah, I like that scene a lot. I thought that scene was cool with the tea. Like it was good line delivery. It was like a good line, a good scene of dialogue. Yeah. So oh yeah, and Lois Lane. Oh yeah, and that's another thing I love about this movie too. Is like even the minor characters get their own like character arcs too. Like I mean, yeah, kind of character arcs and a bit of character development too. I really liked a lot about this movie. Is even the minor characters get their own character backgrounds and their own story too. Which Lois Lane, she has her own story in this movie too, which is what I really like too. A lot of people say they hate Lois Lane in the DCEU. They find her a waste and they find her like everyone hates her, but me, I never had a problem with Lois Lane actually. Like I've always loved Lois Lane. Like I see why she's there. Like I get why she's there. I care for her. Like I care for a relationship with Superman. Yeah, I don't have a problem with her. Like I don't see why people hate her. I don't see what the big problem with her is. I like her. She's solid. Yeah, and so with this movie, I really really love how she never goes back to work. In the original cut, she was working a lot in the Daily Planet and all of that, and I didn't like that about the other cut. But with this cut, you see a bit of Lois Lane. You see that she's been very very depressed in Superman's death. Like she's just been staying home. She's not been working a lot. She's just been super super depressed. She's just been walking around the city. She's been visiting Superman's tomb, like Superman's old shrine every day. Yeah, and she's even like makes like a little like friendship with like an older cop who was played by Mark McClure. I think his name was Jerry in the movie. Yeah, and she just gives Jerry a coffee every day. Like she's just like going through like a weird phase every day where she's just doing that and staying home. Like she's just not really doing much. She's just super depressed, and I really like that a lot about her. And then when Superman gets resurrected, she is in pure shock, and she is like she's in pure shock, and she feels like she's now happy now. Like she's happy that Superman's alive, and she is home now. Like she's not depressed anymore, and she's home now. And yeah, and I really love that a lot about Lois Lane, how we had that whole story with her. And yeah, and I just thought that was just super cool to have like a Lois Lane her own story. And that whole storyline was beautiful actually. Yeah, I cared for it so much. Yeah. And I would definitely say it was pretty necessary too. Yeah. Now let's get on to oh yeah, and Mara gets her a bit of a story too. Queen Mara of Atlantis. She gets her own story too, where she's trying to like defend the throne, and like she's like with King Orm and all of that, and she is trying to look for she's trying to look for Aquaman and all of that. And yeah, and I really like the whole story with her. What else was there with her? Let me think. let me try to think. Was there anything else involving her? So yeah, I think that's all I should say. So yeah, I really liked Queen Mara, and she had a bit more screen time in this movie than she did in the original cut. Actually, actually a lot more. Actually, a lot more screen time actually, because she was in this movie for quite a bit actually, and I liked all the scenes she was in this movie, and I really loved the scene where Steppenwolf tries to get the second mother box from Atlantis, where he's fighting all the Atlanteans, and that scene got even more down now. Like it got even more gory too. Like I love when Steppenwolf's choking Mara, and then like Mara I think like puts them in line, and he's like, this is not helping. Like, is this all you want to do? And then from there, like, Mara is like taking out all the water out of him, like literally taking out all the water that lives in him, because people need water to survive, and so she's taking out all the water out of him, and then when she's doing that, even blood is coming out, and then he lets go of her, and yeah, that scene was awesome. That was a very cool touch to add with that scene. And then I love when Aquaman and him were fighting in that scene, and then he throws Aquaman in the pipe, and like the cylinder thing, and then he punches him, and then he takes the mother box. So yeah, that scene was even more cooler this time around. Yeah, that whole scene was fucking awesome. Yeah. Let me see. Is there anything else I should say? Okay, now let's get on to Commissioner Gordon. I'm not gonna talk about him much. He didn't really have a character in this movie, but he was cool for the scenes he was in. Volko, I really liked how Volko was in this movie. Like Volko was supporting Arthur, and yeah, I like all the scenes where he was supporting Arthur, and he wanted him to take the throne and all of that, and yeah. Anything else I should say about him? I think that's it about Volko. So yeah, Volko, well, he was cool in this movie. Let me think. Oh yeah, and also Martha Kent is in this movie too, and I really like all the scenes with her too. She was exactly the same as she was in the original cut too, like literally exactly the same actually. So there's not really much to talk about her, but I still really liked her in this movie. Now let's talk about who else is there to talk about. Let me think. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Let me think. Oh yeah, and okay, I'll talk about that a bit later actually. I'll just talk about that now, actually. We get introduced to an all-new superhero in this movie, actually. Like, an all-new superhero that was not in the original cut. And that is Martian Manhunter. Like, he's actually in this movie, actually. Like, and I thought he was really cool, actually. Like, I love that scene. I love all the scenes where he was in it, actually. Like, I love that scene where he's visiting Lois, and he's just like, Lois, just try to make a life and all of that. Try to go out more. Just try to make a new life. Just go to work and all this stuff. And then once Martha gets out, you see that it's Martian Manhunter. Like, you see Martian Manhunter camouflage. You see Martha camouflage to Martian Manhunter. And that scene was fucking awesome, where we first get introduced to him, and then he transforms to General what was his name? General Swanwick or something like that. Yeah, General Swanwick, yeah. And when he transforms into him. So yeah, that whole scene where he first got introduced was awesome. Yeah, and was Martian Manhunter necessary in this movie? No, he was not necessary in this movie. I think that's another nitpick I have with it too, was he wasn't really much necessary in this movie, but he was still cool for all the scenes he was in. Like, I still really loved all the scenes he was in, actually. And I love when he comes in the end where he tells Bruce Wayne, like, I'll be around, like, I'll be in touch if you ever need me, like, and all this stuff, and then he just flies away. So yeah, that scene was awesome in the end. Yeah. Yeah, and I think those were the only scenes he was in, actually, were just those two scenes. But they were still awesome. Is there anything else who else should I talk about? I think that's all the characters I should talk about in this movie. Now let's talk about. Oh yeah, and let me talk about one more scene involving Steppenwolf. I like that scene with Steppenwolf where he takes the Atlanteans and he's trying to find out where the second mother box is, and like, oh yeah, and I really love that like how he has a spider, like he has sort of a spider that he puts into people's heads, so like they won't have to talk to him for the answers. Like they'll just show him in their minds where it's at, and so it just goes in their head. and then like it like takes out like a video or something like that of their head showing where the second mother box is at, and I love that so much. Like that is just fucking awesome right there, and that is even more compelling than just Steppenwolf just asking people for where it is. Like, and like that is just fucking awesome how he has a spider, like he just puts it in their mind. Yeah, it's just so awesome. I love that so much. Yeah, and yeah, I just thought that scene, that whole thing definitely like made Steppenwolf even cooler. Let me think. Is there anything else about that I should say? Is there anything else about this movie I should say? Let me think. Let me think. Is there anything else about this movie I should say? Oh yeah. If you guys remember the tunnel scene from the original cut, it was still a bit the same actually, just a bit more going on in it, and I really liked how like Steppenwolf was like Wonder Woman was the first one for Steppenwolf to fight, and that scene was really cool. How they were fighting, and then Batman was fighting the parademons, and then yeah, and then Flash was figuring out what to do, and then Cyborg was just rescuing all the people. Yeah, that whole scene was still really cool. And yeah, it was still the same as in the original cut, but it was still really cool. Seeing it again. Is there anything else I should say? Excuse me, talking a lot makes me cough. So as many of you all may know, with my long ass reviews I make. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say about this movie? Oh yeah, and I really like how they say in this. Oh yeah, and I really like when they bring back Superman. It's exactly the same, but like there's a but like when they're resurrecting Superman, Cyborg gets a vision of the future where the whole Justice League dies and Wonder Woman like dies and they're burning her body in Themyscira, and then Darkseid even makes Superman his friend, and then you even see Superman flying around with Batman's head in his hand, and that scene I thought like that scene was super dark actually. I was actually really scared for that to not happen for that to not actually happen in this movie actually. I did not want that to happen in this movie actually. I was very scared that was going to happen in this movie, but thankfully it didn't. Thank God it didn't. Yeah. If that had happened, I would have definitely been disappointed by this movie actually, but it didn't. And yeah. Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? So yeah, when they resurrected Superman, it was the same as in the original cut. I already talked about it already. But when Superman left, and Steppenwolf went to go for the third mother box that resurrected Superman, like he went for it, and that scene was even more cooler this time around. Cause like in the original cut, all that scene was it just showed Steppenwolf get the mother box, then he leaves. That was it. Like it doesn't even show Steppenwolf even getting the mother box. It just showed him teleporting, and it just showed the thing in the sky and then it leaving. That's all it showed in the original cut. But no, this time in the original cut we get even more with that scene. Like he goes to the ship, and then so much, and then the army with the tanks are seeing them and they're shooting at them, and he's not even caring. Like he's just walking by, and then like they're all scared of him, and then he's going for their mother box, but then Silas takes the mother box, and then he puts it on the thing, so Steppenwolf like won't get it, or to overheat it. Yeah, to overheat it actually, like where he's trying to overheat it, and then like he's putting the machine on, and then Cyborg was the first one to get there so he could save his dad, and so they were just fighting Steppenwolf in that scene. And I thought that was a really cool, like, little fight scene with fighting Steppenwolf. That was a really cool scene where just Cyborg was fighting Steppenwolf. Yeah, that whole scene was awesome, where he blasts him and then he just goes flying into the wall. And then he's still trying to get the box, but then his dad is in like the the little pod, and then like he pushes the button, and then like it makes the box like overheat, and then like the box like ends up killing him. Like he ends up sacrificing himself to overheat the box. Yeah, and I thought that scene was really emotional actually, how Cyborg had to watch his father die in front of him. Yeah, that scene was really sad. Yeah, and then from there, that's what makes Cyborg not fight anymore, and then that's what makes Steppenwolf get the last mother box, and so he gets it, and then he goes away, and then from there the Justice League comes, and then they're trying to accompany him, like they're trying to accompany him because like he's really sad about his father dying. So yeah, that scene was very emotional, I would say, and I really loved how a bit later on in the movie they're like, Aquaman says, "I can't believe your father died and you're still willing to help us." Yeah, that scene was really cool. Is there anything else I should say about cyborgs? Let me think. I mean, not about cyborg, about this movie. Let me think. Oh yeah, and I really like. Oh yeah, and what I love about this movie too is the scenes where the Justice League are like together, like talking about their plans and like talking as a group. You actually feel like this is a team. Actually, like, you actually feel like this is a team assembled. Like in the original cut, you did not give a shit for that. Like you didn't even feel like this was a team. Like you did not feel that this was a team. But now you feel like it's a team. Actually, like you feel like it's a team. Like you feel that they're united, like they're a team united, and I really love that so much. How when they're talking, like you're very invested on the talking things that they're that they're talking about, and you really feel like it's a team. So yeah, and it's just so cool how they did that. Is there anything else I should say? Let me think. Oh yeah, and I really love that line that Batman gives in the movie. It was in the trailer too, where Flash is telling Batman, like, this guy's probably fought like thousands of, like hundreds and thousands of super beings on the other planets, and we have to assume that he's one. And then Batman's like, I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many else. He's never fought us. Not us united. Yeah, that scene was so cool. That line was super cool. I'm in love with that line actually. Like I love that line so much. Like I would definitely say it's my favorite line in the movie actually. Like I love that line so much. Like when he said that line, I was in shock actually. Like literally I love it so much. Yeah. Let me think. And then after that scene, like just hopeful music plays, and then it goes to another scene. Yeah, and it was just really cool. With like that scene was really cool. Is there anything else I should say about it, about this movie? Let me think. Oh yeah, the end battle. I love the end battle so much. The end battle is fucking awesome. Like it's even more cool than it was in the original cut. So Batman, like, he destroys the dome that the parademons and Steppenwolf are in. He destroys it, and then that's what makes the red dome go away. And so once they get in, like Batman is like shooting a whole bunch of parademons, and that scene is awesome. And I love when Wonder Woman is even like killing the parademons with Batman, and Cyborg is doing it too, and like Flash and oh yeah, and I love when like Flash, like he's just like running around the city so he can make a power beacon or something like that, or like something like a power beacon or something like that to like try to weaken the boxes or something like that. Oh, and I really love that a lot about him. He's just running around the city. So yeah, and I thought that was really cool for Flash to do, instead of like Flash just like taking one family then driving them off. And yeah, I thought that was a lot more cooler than that, because I thought that was just fucking retarded in the original cut, where that's all he did in the original cut. But in this, he has a lot more of a purpose. Like he's just running around the city. So yeah, that was just so cool. And I already said this before. I love how they still kept in Aquaman killing the parademons. Let me think. Is there anything else about the end I should say? Oh yeah, and I really like how like Batman, like he's even like fighting the parademons that are like there's like a parademon that has like a big gun that he's shooting at the Justice League or something like that, and then like Batman kills that parademon, and then I think he uses the gun for himself. I think, and yeah, and that scene was really cool too. Is there anything else I should say? Let me think. Anything else about the paradigm about the end battle? So yeah, and I really like in the end battle where they're cyborgs trying to like take out the mother boxes, and like Wonder Woman and Aquaman are fighting Steppenwolf. So yeah, that scene was really really cool, and I really really love. Oh yeah, I already mentioned this before, when Superman comes in and he's fighting Steppenwolf, and then like he laser beams Steppenwolf's armor, and then like he takes off like a part of his ear, something like that. Yeah, like a part of his like his horns. Yeah, where he takes the left side of his horn off. Yeah, that scene was really really cool, and like he literally beats the shit out of Steppenwolf. Yeah, I love that scene so much. Is there anything else about this scene I should say? Let me think. Anything else? Let me think. Is there anything else I should say? Let me think. Oh yeah, and with that scene, or with the Flash, like I love in that scene where Darkseid comes in to play, like he comes in with this teleporter, and then the mother boxes actually form together, and they destroy the Earth actually, and then like they destroy the Earth, but then Flash, he comes in and he literally reverses time with his super speed, and that was fucking awesome. Like literally, I love that so much. Like literally, like where he was where he was running, and then he turns back time, and then like he turns back time to where like Superman comes in, and to where Darkseid, like he barely comes in, like he goes back in time from there, and then he tells Superman to like try to help out Cyborg with taking out the mother boxes, and then they take him out. So yeah, that scene was awesome. Like I loved how Flash turned back time, and and to think about it, Flash even helped. Flash totally, like he totally helped out with saving the world, and that was perfect for Flash. Like that was the perfect end for Flash actually, and that's what teases his new movie that's gonna come out next year, which I actually am really excited for. Actually, like I can't wait for that movie. Actually, which what I am hearing is already in production right now. Like they're already working on it right now. Which yeah, and yeah, and that's cool. So yeah, like I said, I can't wait for that movie to come out. Uh, anything else I should say? So yeah, that whole end was so cool, and I really loved when like when they take out the mother boxes. Like after that, like Aquaman like stabs Steppenwolf from the backside and like raises him up, and then like and then Wonder Woman comes in and she jumps and then chops off Steppenwolf's head, and then like his head goes in Apocalypse where Darkseid's at, like through the boom tomb, and then the boom tomb closes, and then like Darkseid literally sees Steppenwolf's head like right under him, and yeah, that was like, excuse me, that was an even like that was even like that was such an awesome climax. I would say like that was a fucking awesome climax. Like that was the climax I wanted to see in the original cut. In the original cut, the climax was fucking bad. Where like the parademons just smelled fear, and then they were just attacking Steppenwolf, and then he just teleported away. That was all that was in the original cut. But now that climax was even more cooler where they chop off his head and then like he like his head goes into Apocalypse. Like that was actually a brutality to this movie. Like I would call that a brutality. Yeah, and that was such an awesome brutality. Yeah, I loved it so much. And then Darkseid, and then after that scene, Darkseid just squishes like Steppenwolf's head, and he's just like and then he's just like, he failed me. But I swear, but he says like, I swear, when we come back, I will not fail. And then we literally see all of Apocalypse. We see the old lady that controls the parademons. I forgot her name, but I know about her from the cartoons and in the comics, where she's an old lady that controls the parademons from like a scepter. You see her, you see Desaad's like actual look, and yeah, and then like you see all the parademons all in one. So yeah, that scene was really cool. And then that's what teases Justice League Part 2. And then from there, the Justice League has won, and I love that so much, how the Justice League won. And then in the next scene, like the Justice League is standing on top of the tunnel, and then they're going in the ship. Yeah, that scene was awesome. I loved it so much. Is there anything else I should say about this movie before I close this review? Let me think. Oh yeah, and I just really love the whole tape recorder with Cyborg. Oh yeah, forgot to talk about the tape recorder. I love the tape recorder so much, where his father was like helped him out with learning his true power, but the tape recorder in the end was like telling him about him how much he loves him and all that, and how much like he knows he'll do good things or something like that. Yeah, and that whole thing with the tape recorder was really cool. Is there anything else I should say? So yeah, I really love the tape recorder so much, where it showed like how like the whole end, and like the end the end sequence, like was exactly the same as it was in the well, not exactly the same, it was the same as in the original Joss Whedon cut, just without the tape recorder. But it shows like the scene where like Martha got the house back, and then Superman was like, how did you manage to buy this from the bank? And he's like, I own the bank. Yeah, I love how they brought back that scene from the original cut, because I thought that scene was really funny in the original cut, and it fitted in very well with this. And I really like when it showed like Flash running around the city, and then it shows like, oh yeah, and I love how it shows Aquaman like with Volko and Mera, and then and then he's like I'll just be staying here in Earth for a while. Yeah, I think that's what he says. Like, I'll be staying here for a while. Like, I probably won't think of coming back like anytime or something like that. Yeah, and yeah, that whole scene was really cool. How they were in the beach. Yeah, Is there what else goes down? Let me think. Oh yeah, and then like Batman and Alfred are in Old Wayne Manor, and then Wonder Woman's with the Themyscirans, I think, and then Flash is and then Superman just like takes out his what is it called, his uniform, his suit, and then like the black suit's right there. Oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about that. I really like how they brought back the black suit in this. I mean, they didn't bring it back, but they introduced the black suit in this movie actually, and I thought that was really cool how we got to see Superman's black suit in a movie adaptation. Yeah, and that was just really cool, and I really love when he takes out his suit, and then this black suit logo's right there. Yeah, and then we get on to okay, from there that's like the end of the movie, and then from there like we get 30 minutes of additional scenes, like tagged on scenes, like tagged on scenes where like it shows Luthor escapes from the prison, like there's like the guard saying, Luthor, come out of that prison, and then he goes in the prison cell, and it's not Luthor, like it's just some crazy guy who's like doing this maniac laughter or something like that. Yeah, and then after that you see Lex Luthor on the boat with Deathstroke, which that scene was exactly the same as it was in the Joss Whedon cut, but except Lex Luthor tells Deathstroke, there's something you need to know about Batman. His name is Bruce Wayne, and I thought that was really cool. I don't think that like him saying that was in the original one. So yeah, I thought that scene was a bit more cooler in this scene than it was in the original cut. And then after that we get the nightmare sequence, which I really love the nightmare sequence a lot, where he's dreaming about where Batman's dreaming about the future, where Superman's gone bad, and then like the whole world, like most of the world is destroyed, and then Batman's with Cyborg, Mara, and Flash. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, they say Aquaman died. They say Harley Quinn died. They say that Wonder Woman died. And yeah, so it's just them four, and then Joker's in that scene. Oh yeah, I love that scene so much where Joker's in that scene, and for the first time ever, Jared Leto is good as Joker now. Like I thought Jared Leto did some really good acting with Joker in that scene. I really liked the whole dialogue with that scene where they're talking where Joker's like, Batman, you won't kill me. I'm your best friend. Yeah, I love that so much. And then Joker's talking about like, you lost all of this just like you lost your mother, your father, and adopted son. And then and that scene was really cool. And then Batman's like, you talking about the ones I love. And then like he tells him about when Harley Quinn died. Like Harley Quinn died in his arms, and she was like, when Harley Quinn died in my arms, she told me in her last breath to kill you. And I told her that when I would kill you, that I will fucking kill you, and I do it slow. And yeah, and that scene was awesome. And yeah, and I love how Batman for the first time ever cusses. Yeah, and then Joker like takes the card out of his mouth or something like that. And yeah, that scene was really cool. And I love Joker's laugh in that scene where he laughs like ah 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 ah. Yeah, that scene was really cool. Yeah. Let me think, is there anything else I should say? So yeah, that whole scene was awesome, and I really love when Superman comes in, and then he puts out his laser beams, and then Batman wakes up in that scene, and then after that, he talks to Martian Manhunter, and he tells him like, I look forward to seeing you around, and all this stuff. Yeah. I already talked about that scene already. But yeah, and I thought Martian Manhunter, he looked cool. I thought he looked cool in this movie too. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty good ending for this movie actually. But I didn't really think those last 30 minutes were very necessary with the whole nightmare sequence. But they were cool though. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I should talk about this movie. Yeah, I think that's all about this movie I should say now. To rate this movie, fuck it. Yeah, I'm going for an A+. Yeah. Bye, and see you all in the next review.